Hello and welcome back. In the last section, we went ahead and created the API for creating a user, and now we have to essentially wire it up in our index.js and then do a unit testing of the API in isolation. Okay, so let's go ahead and wire this up now. I'll go over at the top of the file. I'm going to first import the routes here. I'm going to say const user routes is equal to require route/user, super, and I'm going to say app.use. Where is my other, right here, app.use, and I'm going to say, I'm going to use the prefix, and I'm going to use the user routes here. Alright, super, so we're all set. And in here, I'm going to go ahead and create a new file, and I'm going to call it http.user.rest. Okay, alright. And in here, I'm going to have a creation call for the user. I'm going to say create user. Alright. And this is going to be a host call. It's going to be http localhost, and we're running on 7787 and /API/users. Okay, and let me go ahead and press enter. This is going to have a content type of application/JSON. All right, accept of application JSON, and then finally the body in JSON form. Okay, and we would be getting an ID. Okay, and that's going to be underscore ID, and we're going to call it underscore ID. All right, and let's say call it test for now, test 101. Yeah, and I'm going to have an email also as part of the payload. It's going to be test 101@example.com. Alright, super. So let's go ahead and test this. Hopefully we should get something back in return. I'm going to say send request. Alright, it's created. Super. Alright, this went ahead and created that. And what happens if I go ahead and repeat this request? Yeah, we get some error here, which is a duplicate error. Again, we need to do a better error handling here, right? And let's say I don't give the ID here right now. I'm just going to go ahead and send the request. User validation fail, and this is again coming from the database. Okay, so which means we have to actually go ahead and create some schema validation, at the controller level for this particular API. Okay, so let's head over to our validators. Okay, we will go ahead and create some new validation rules for the user schema. And what I'm going to do here is let me save this, and I'm going to close others. Let's close all. Alright, so inside of here, I'm going to create a new schema, and that's going to be for users. I'm going to call it user schema, and that's going to be using joy.object. Alright, and it's going to have an ID. Okay, and that's going to be a joy.string, and that's going to be required. Okay, and the other field would be email, and again that's going to be joy.string.require. I'm not sure if we have a specific rule for email itself. Let's go ahead over to Joy documentation. Okay, so that could probably give us some idea in terms of whether there is a specific check for validity of the emails. So I'm going to say npm joy. Okay, so joy npm. Alright, and let's see if there are any examples here. Now let's create click on documentation API, and in here let me check if there is something for email. Let's check control. Okay, alright, I think there is something in here. Okay, min domain segments too, and okay, so we'll just go with the basic email stuff in here. And what I'm going to do here is I'm going to specify email, and that's required. Okay, and this has to be having the braces, and I'm going to go ahead and export the user schema here. Okay, super. I think that should something went wrong. I think it could have been wrong. Okay, I think we have to give a string first and then essentially call email on top of that. Alright, so we have the user schema here. Then we'll head over back to the controllers into the user.js. Let me go ahead and call this stuff const, and I'm going to say user schema. Okay, and this is going to be coming from require and one level above, and then I think we have validators. Is that correct? Yes, there we go, and it says schema validator. Super. Okay, and inside of try, what I'm going to do now is essentially call the validate schema on the user schema. So what I'm going to do here is essentially, before I pass it to the creation of the new user object, I'm going to say const result is equal to await, and I'm going to call user schema dot validate async here, and I'm going to pass the request body. Alright, and maybe I'll just call it validated here, and I'm going to pass this object to the user creation process. Okay, alright, super. So this is looking good right now. Okay, and so this takes care of the validation aspect, and then now we have to take care of the conflict where we send in a duplicate ID, right? So let's see how we can go about it. So the first thing is, if there is a error related to joy, we have to essentially check for that, and I'm going to say if error dot is joy, okay, and that's equal to true. Okay, I'm going to say error dot status is equal to 422, okay, which is unprocessable entity. Otherwise, what I'm going to do here is I'm going to check whether the error actually includes, I think the string was E11000 or something like that, if I'm correct. Somewhere here we got that error. Yeah, E11000 duplicate key error. Okay, so I'm going to check whether the error contains that particular string. So for that, I'm going to have another if block here. I'm going to say error dot message. Oops, error dot message, and I'll call the includes function of that. Okay, and if it includes E uppercase and 11000, okay, if that is the case, then what I'm going to do here is I'm going to essentially return the error with using the next function. Okay, and I'm going to say I'm going to create a new error here. Create. We have to essentially import that as well. Okay, let's say const create error is equal to require http -errors. Okay, was it http -error or errors? Let's quickly go over to categories controllers. It was http -errors. Okay, let's go ahead and correct that. This is http errors, yeah. Okay, and I'm going to say next and call create error. Okay, and this is going to be of type conflict. Okay, dot conflict. Yeah, that's the first one. Conflict. Yeah, and we'll also give a message here saying that user with email. Okay, and I'm going to use the user object here. Where was it? Yeah, the user object with email. I'm going to use the interpolation here, so dollar, and inside of flower braces it's going to be user.email already exists. Okay, super. So we have the error handling in place here for both the cases right now, and we should be able to go ahead and test this now. All right, head over back to the REST client for the user. Where is it? Yeah, it's right here. And let's see if I can actually go ahead and send this. It should give me a 422 now. Cannot read property of email of undefined. What happened? So the email itself is not coming here. So what I'm going to do though is just kind of say request.body.email then. Okay. Actually, this is throwing a different kind of error. Okay, because right now we're not sending we're only sending the email, we're not sending the ID. So it should be actually sending me an error related to okay, so I think this is incomplete right now. Okay, so if the error, I think we made a mistake here. This should actually be here. Okay, so essentially this is going to be return next create error. Yeah, that actually makes sense. Or we say next error. Okay, so I think that makes sense. Okay, super. So let's go ahead and test this now one more time. 402, yes, there we go. ID is required. We're getting that. Okay, and let's say I pass in the ID again. All right, and then I'm going to say test 102. Okay. And this should actually give me the mongoose error now. Unexpected something. Okay, I forgot the comma. Send it one more time. There we go. 409. User with that email already exists. Super. Alright folks, so we have a working API here, and which is essentially having the right kind of validation in place and error handling as well in place. Okay. And the next thing is we have to go back to the UI and essentially wire it up with this API, and then essentially create new users on our system. Okay, so let's take a brief pause here and come back to essentially implement the UI and the API integration.